Hey, what's up? It's been a while. I just wanted to get on here and share some nuggets of wisdom for my nieces. One of the single best pieces of advice that myself, not myself or anyone can give you when it comes to dating relationships and dealing with guys is always go with actions over words, right? So no matter what a man says, how convincing it sounds, he can have impeccable timing. He can say or share something that's very descriptive pertaining to his feelings about you, how he sees a future with you, how he even sees you. But sweetheart, let me tell you something. The single thing that you want to make sure you're paying attention to is his actions. Do his actions align with what is coming out of his mouth? If there's a discrepancy there, then that's someone you can't trust. That's someone you cannot listen to. And you will be in a world of heartache if you attempt to gaslight yourself into believing that something is what it isn't, okay? Don't be that girl, okay? It happens all the time. It happens all the time. And a lot of girls can save themselves a lot of heartache by just simply watching a man's actions over words every single time. Actions do not lie. Now, there's a caveat to that because there are always exceptions to every rule. So there are guys who will do everything properly. They will say the right things. They will do the right things. And it is nearly impossible to tell whether or not they are being honest. If you have any gut inclination, any doubt about the validity of what he's saying and whether or not what he's saying and doing is what is really in his heart, time is going to be your best friend. Because yes, there are guys who intentionally deceive women for different reasons. They do it for different reasons. Some of them do it because there's something they want to obtain from you that is of value at all costs to them, whether it be attention, it could be a relationship. They just want to be in a relationship at that moment. They need comfort. They need your femininity. If you are someone who is, sexually active, then it could be that as well. Most likely that's the number one thing. But if you're not sexually active with the person, then it could be something else, like your resources. It could be if you're a nurturing person, if you are connected, those types of things. Guys are very resourceful, so the easiest way to get things done is through women, okay? And so a lot of guys build themselves by extracting from women. So you'll see that they'll have lots of women positioned around them, some family members, and some of them are just friends, but especially women who are interested in these guys. But the guy is not really interested in the woman. He's only interested in what he can get from that woman. So be careful of that. So when you're in doubt, time is your best friend. You take your time, you watch and you listen, but you wait, okay? Patience is indeed a virtue. There's a Bible verse that says, in your patience possesseth your soul. That is so true. Sometimes we can get impatient in our waiting, and like, let's say you meet like your dream person. This goes for guys and women, but the fact that men typically lead, you want to let them lead. You don't want to jump ahead of them. And so in that, you have to learn to be very patient. You have to be very patient and watchful so that you are not putting yourself in a position like a lamb to slaughter, right? So what that looks like is you are putting yourself in a position where you are basically a deer that is going and laying at the foot of a hunter like, okay, kill me. You do not want that. You do not want that, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to kill you. Maybe not literally, but in a sense of in other ways, okay? So be mindful of that. There are guys who wait your whole life to, for whatever reason. And that's a whole other conversation. They will pretend to be your friends. They will pretend to be confidants, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting. So I have been a proponent of abstinence and celibacy for a very long time. I've been a proponent for celibacy and abstinence for a very long time, like most of my life. And I see where it has benefited me in so many ways. And I understand that everybody is not able to go long periods like that without any intercourse or having sex, without any intimacy like that. Um, but the thing that really helps me to maintain the course when it comes to that is keeping myself busy. I make memories with those who mean the most to me, my friends, my family. Um, I explore different like hobbies. I do new things. I create things, right? Um, Not just to stay busy, but as a way of being fruitful in my life. So it's not that I'm just staying busy and doing these things so that I stay out of trouble. It's about being fruitful, because at some point in your life, you want to be a producer. You want to be producing something, right? Um, you consume knowledge, wisdom, experience, and then you need to be able to produce something out of your experiences in life. And so earlier on, I moved into that producer phase of my life where I just was producing things. So that could be anything from like businesses, product, websites, ideas, helping people. So I have like a huge portfolio of projects and things that I've done simply because I focused on producing things instead of um, doing a whole bunch of extracurricular activities. Okay. The biggest issue that I'm running into when it comes to being that type of person is being equally yoked, right? Or being able to find someone, or they find me, however that works, that where we have a compatibility that's built around things that are common, right? Like common goals, common mindset, common, ways that we have fun together, things we like to do. Now, for compatibility, I mean, we don't necessarily have to like all the same things. However, we would have to be able to be around each other without it being contentious or anything like that. So we have to like each other enough to be in each other's presence outside of any type of stimulation, right? And my biggest issue with that is the lack of focus. It's like, as an educator, anybody who has dealt with children can appreciate this analogy, but it reminds me of being like in a room full of like kindergartners or even like just a room full of kids who all have attention issues, who cannot stay focused on a singular task, and so they just kind of do this for a little while, and go do that, and go do that. So that's kind of how dating is. And for somebody like me, if that's what somebody wants to do, that's fine. Just don't try to monopolize my time. Don't try to suck me into what you're doing just because you're available and that kind of thing. Like I don't like or appreciate that. But that's one of the biggest issues, is actually finding someone who I can sit still with, be still with, and be in the moment with, without something on the outside being a distraction or pressing on their time. And so that can be challenging. I am, patient when it comes to those things. However, I find it difficult to practice patience when there is no like transparency or communication. And if I'm not with a person, I don't necessarily expect them to tell me like every little thing that's going on in their life. If I'm not with a person, I don't necessarily expect them to tell me every little thing that's going on in their life. Just the common decency, right? And it seems like it can't happen, right? But I'm appreciative of where I am in my life right now, because I don't care as much anymore about appearing as much as I care about becoming the best version of myself that I can be for those who are around me. Now, that could potentially be a mate, doesn't matter. The people who are currently around me now, being the best version of myself, so I can fulfill the purpose that God has for me in this lifetime. That is the number one most important thing to me right now. In doing so, I've met like some amazing people, and very few are the most amazing that I've met. I count that number of people on like one hand, probably one finger. So it's interesting to watch everything unfold, and being at peace with my journey and where I am. It is it's pretty cool. It's great. I love it. I don't feel rushed or hurried into anything. And I like that. I like that. So, anywho, remember, watch actions over words, but also be patient. Be patient, okay? Anybody can do something for a period of time, but if it's not authentic to who and what they are, they're not going to be able to do that indefinitely. There's an expiration date on those actions. Okay? So that doesn't mean be a predictor of doom and sit around plotting the downfall of someone who may be interested, but it does mean to be vigilant and while you're observing those things, make sure that you are somebody whose words and actions match as well. Okay, so we're all a work in progress. Nothing above anything. If you notice those things, don't get mad, don't get hateful or spiteful or bitter. Like, you just acknowledge it for what it is and act accordingly, right? What I mean by accordingly is do what's best for you. That doesn't mean resorts. That doesn't mean resorts to any like game playing or anything like that. It is just simply an acknowledgement that this is what that is. This person's words and actions are not matching, and so because of that, the investment is not going to be what it would be if those words and actions matched over time in a way that confirms what you said is true, right? So it's a process. We can give each other grace. It doesn't make them a bad person. It's just we all are at different stages of our growth, and we have to acknowledge that about each other and choose love. Choose love. Even at times, even when you choose love, sometimes it's going to be just self-love and loving your family and your friends that are around you, and then other times somebody else will be able to come into that fold and experience love that's different, that's more romantic love. So in the meantime, enjoy the friendship love, the familial love, and more importantly, the love of Christ in our lives. All right, be blessed.